Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Carmen, and today I'll be covering what I believe to be some of the best freelance writing and copywriting niches because I've been copywriting now for about 8 years, so I've dabbled in a lot of different industries and verticals, and I believe what I found to be the best niches if you want to make the most amount of money and always have a lot of work lined up for yourself. And if you're a freelance writer or you're trying to break into freelance writing, you might have come across the problem of just not knowing what niche to write about because there's literally dozens, if not hundreds, and you want to make sure that you enjoy it, you make a lot of money, and then you have a good future. So beginning with number one is technical writing. So technical writing is essentially an area of writing where you're focusing on user manuals, instructions, booklets, and any kind of writing that's going to focus on the technical nature of a product or service. Just about every business needs technical writing because they're going to have products and things that in the back end need instructions, help manuals, user guides, and things of that nature. And it's a very straightforward, practical, literally technical form of writing. And if you want to write that kind of stuff, this is a really good niche because you also generate a lot of income and you can charge very high per word and per hour rates. You also find yourself writing business meetings and notes, technical procedures, business procedures, social media policies, and there's lots of things you can write. It's not just user manuals and that kind of stuff. You'll find that if you work with clients, they're going to have lots of work for you to do in many different facets and areas of their company. If you want to become a technical writer, one, you have to be a very good learner and be able to pick up things on the fly. Because as a technical writer, you're going to essentially take a product or service that you've never used before and be able to explain it very thoroughly and also in simple terms. Because remember, normally if you're technical writing, you're trying to explain how to use something in a way that's very user-friendly. You also have to be a very good researcher because if you're new to a product, a service, or an industry, you have to be able to study the product, the customer, who it's made for, the business itself, the features, the benefits, the value proposition, and then tie all of that into writing. Feel free to also go into the description and read my article on freelance writing rates to get an idea of how much you should charge for technical writing if you decide to do this freelance, or even if you break into it as a career and you want to provide it as a contract service. The second niche is ghostwriting. Now this is what I primarily focus on, and ghostwriting is essentially writing content and copy for clients, but you don't necessarily get credit for it, so you're essentially writing it under another person's or brand's name. And because of this, you actually get to charge a premium, normally 2 to 3 times the normal rates for any project, because you aren't getting a byline. Now, if you're a freelance writer, a byline is essentially your author profile that would normally be featured on a website, a landing page, a guest post, and so on. And what that allows you to do is get free exposure, more leads, referral traffic. It's normally a backlink to your website, which is really good for SEO. And if you don't get those things, it only makes sense that you get to charge a bit of a premium for the writing you're doing. Niche number 3 is SEO writing. This is another niche that I love and specialize in because content and search engine optimization go hand in hand. When you're writing a piece of content, you're going to have target keywords. You need to optimize it for search engines like Google, user experience, different technical on-page elements. And it's a very in-demand thing right now because a lot of businesses are investing in inbound marketing, and producing SEO content is a big part of that. So if you can actually learn the skills of SEO, like backlink building, on-page, things of that nature, what you can end up doing is providing that as a service and once again charging a premium because you're actually able to not just provide someone a piece of content, but something that's actually going to generate them traffic and leads and authority, and there's a real ROI. So if you want to break into this niche, you already like doing content writing, feel free to learn SEO in the description. I'll link some Moz articles in there and some good guides, and then you can apply that to the content, and suddenly you have a very profitable niche to pursue. Number 4 is the big mamacita. This is direct response copywriting. So this is writing things like sales pages, sales letters, and advertisements that consumers directly respond to, directly engage with, and normally place an order immediately. And direct response copywriting is normally going to be the highest paid niche because you essentially have the biggest impact on sales, conversions, revenue, and those big metrics because you're writing copy for the end of the point of sale. So it's going to be normally the very last thing a consumer engages with before they convert and actually purchase something. Not always the case. Direct response can be for like generating leads and things like that. But normally you charge the most with this niche just simply because it's the closest to the point of sale and you have the biggest impact on revenue and conversions. Now, it's also a bit difficult to break into, so I recommend just getting a little bit of a portfolio going. Don't charge maybe as much at first, or try to even do some free work just to build up that portfolio and then leverage that to get high-paying clients. It's also just a lot of fun when I do direct response copywriting for my clients. Normally the first week of, let's say, a 4-week project is just research and planning and figuring out the product, its features, its benefits, studying the industry, the client, the target market, and it's a lot of fun to do that research, set it up, and then pretty much I'm going to spend probably a couple weeks writing it and then editing it, polishing it. We might do some testing with controls and split tests, but it's a really fun and rewarding industry to break into, and I recommend that if you're looking to make a lot of money as a writer, you definitely break into direct response. Niche number 5 is magazine writing, because imagine being able to make $1 to $3 per word. That's not rare when you're writing for big magazines, because that's actually what they typically will pay their writers, $1 to $3 per word. So if you wrote a 1,000-word article, that means you're making anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000, which is really, really good for a single article. So if you ended up really breaking into that niche and you wrote a few big articles like that per month, suddenly you're making a really, really good income, if not close to about 6 figures just from the magazines. Like direct response though, it can be a bit tough to break into, because when you're pitching these big publications like the New York Times and so on, obviously they're probably receiving hundreds of pitches per day. So you have to stand out and be really, really consistent. I know that outside of the magazines, when I'm pitching Marketing Prof, Social Media Examiner, and these other big websites I've contributed to, often it took months of actually pitching them, getting declined, and then finally getting on there. So when you are pitching big magazines, or any client for that matter, just make sure you follow up if necessary and you keep it consistent over the long term, and then you're guaranteed to find some success. Now, those are my top 5 copywriting niches you can break into if you want to make a full-time income online writing, but feel free to go into the description, read my article that actually includes 11 niches to get a bit more. Also, feel free to take my free copywriting courses in the description. Let me know what videos you would like to see, and I'll see you in the next one.